Good evening and welcome. You're watching Breaking Views with me, Sanket Upadhyay, a show where we get you all the views so that you get the complete picture. Now, only yesterday, the G-20 logo was unveiled, where India is basking in the glory of being the country to have the presidency of G20. The logo was unveiled by the Prime Minister. There was a lotus in the image, as you can see right now. But a day later, this blooming lotus has led to a flowering controversy. And what exactly is the controversy? Let's quickly tell you. The G20 logo with lotus was launched by Prime Minister Modi yesterday, because India is to preside over G20 for 1 year. The Prime Minister said the G20 logo is a message, a feeling that runs in India's veins. He also said, we have given the world a message through this logo. He then says the G20 logo reflects our resolve through Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means that the world is one world. The Congress then questioned the BJP over the lotus in the logo. The Congress alleging that the BJP is actually using its election symbol as India's logo at an international platform. Let's quickly show you what Jairam Ramesh said in his tweet. He said, over 70 years ago, Jawaharlal Nehru rejected the proposal to make Congress flag the flag of India. Now the BJP's election symbol has become the official logo for India's presidency of G20. While shocking, we know by now that Mr. Modi and the BJP won't lose any opportunity to promote themselves shamelessly. Now, this is not the first time something like this has happened, where the Congress party has questioned the BJP, in their words, trying to tweak history or change history or alter history to suit their agenda. You remember the Congress party also questioning the BJP on the Ashoka pillar on the Parliament building. This was a similar controversy on the emblem which was placed on top of the Parliament building. There was a big row over the makeover of the 4 lions, part of the Ashok Stamp. Allegations that the lions were made to appear more aggressive, as if they're roaring with their fangs coming out. There was a debate, the debate over not only design but also the nature and character of the 4 lions. However, the architects, the people who designed this, they told NDTV that, you see, whenever there is something which is out of proportion, or when it is scaled up, then everything increases. So you will see the teeth also, the fangs also coming out in an equal proportion, and also the angle at which you look at this Ashok Stamp. So on the show, let me quickly go back to that presentation at the very beginning. G20, is this a flowering controversy over the blooming lotus? Let me introduce our guests one by one. Deshratan Nigam is a political analyst and an advocate. Karuna Gopal, leader of the BJP, media in charge, policy and research of BJP Women's Cell. Sanjay Jha, political analyst, and Dr. Anshul Avijit, national spokesperson of the Congress party. Karuna Gopal, let's begin with you first. How would you respond to the Congress now saying that this is the Bharatiya Janata Party which is now using its election symbol to campaign not just in India but globally? You are in global election mode.
Sanket,
yes,
this comment made by Jairam Ramesh, I find it very puerile, childish, and very, very juvenile. I can't even believe the aspersions being cast by such a senior man without really understanding the implications of what he's saying. First of all, coming to the facts, I think in the month of June 2022, when we knew that we would be managing the G20, we went ahead asking for logo design. It was a competition on MyGov. And the specifications were quite a few actually. We said the logo has to represent sustainability, it has to look at resilience, it has to look at in India per se, what India stands for, and everything. So obviously when the competition was thrown open, there were so many entries, and it was obviously chosen because the Lotus represented practically everything that we were looking for. Like, you know, I mean, in this day and age when we are looking at resilience, how do you define resilience? Lotus stands for resilience. I mean, it against all odds, it blooms. And today, given the world, the turbulence, the the uncertainty post COVID and the war situation, so we are looking for a sliver of hope. And Lotus stands for that. And so why I find it quite funny looking at the skepticism, the allegations, the aspersions cast by Congress. And I'd also like to remind Mr. Ramesh that Lotus is actually our national flower. Please let him really know it. The second thing is that the word Rajiv, as one of our spokespersons said it in the morning, Rajiv Gandhi, the word Rajiv itself is Lotus, for heaven's sake. So I think opposing that is quite puerile, as I said it in the beginning.
Okay. Dr. Anshul Avijit, how would you respond? Here is Karuna Gopal, who says that if you oppose the Lotus, you are essentially opposing the former Prime Minister, Rajiv Gandhi. You are opposing the national flower. You are opposing the various stamps that were released by various Congress Prime Ministers which had the image of Lotus in it. You are also opposing the various symbols of many educational institutions in this country that have the Lotus on it. All of this has been said in response to the Congress alleging that the BJP has politicized and appropriated the Lotus at an international level and made it India's identity.
Sanket, it's absolutely clear. It is explicit. I mean, this is not some sort of something opaque. This is nothing cryptic. It's not a euphemism. I mean, it's unmistakable, the comparison. There is the Lotus here. There is the party symbol. And you've deliberately and intentionally politicized it. I mean, there must have been thousands of entries. I'm sure the Lotus was chosen even before they had a chance to survey all the entries. But you had a billion other motifs and symbols to choose from. You deliberately choose this to politicize the issue because you have become so arrogant and so brazen in what you want to do. You want to equate the world with your party symbol. That is just a shameless politicization of the entire issue. The second point is about the Lotus. I mean, the Lotus, of course, has been the most used ornamental symbol, perhaps in Indian history, in Indian art, perhaps second to the paisley. It has been a religious symbol, but it has also been a secular symbol. You know, we use it as a national flower, as we do our national animal. Many things are secular in it. It's been used in temples. It's been used as a form of ornamentation in saris, in Mughal art, in Mughal miniatures, in the Taj Mahal. It's used in garments. It's been used everywhere as a secular and a religious symbol. But the Prime Minister chose to, first of all, use it as the party symbol. This government chose to use it in this arrogant manner. And secondly, he explicitly evoked religion, when explaining the use of the symbol. You know, we are a multi-religious country. We are a pluralistic country. But he has chosen specifically to dilute this kind of pluralism, to desecularize it, and use the word Lotus explicitly in his own words. And there is nothing lost in translation here, Sanket, because he spoke in English. Okay. He invoked religion in using it and calling it, that.
Okay, but do you feel Sanjay Jha, while the Congress party makes this point, and there is a constituency which feels that the resemblance is very clear. This is much like that, the controversy around the lions and their fangs, how you are slowly trying to appropriate and make your version the correct version or India's version. But while there is a constituency that believes in this, Sanjay Jha, there is also this view of of why politicize Lotus at all? I mean, if a Lotus has been used in the G20 symbol, so what? I mean, you've got the Baha'i movement which set up a huge temple here called the Baha'i Mandir, which is in the shape of a lotus. So the BJP will give you, there is a counter view which will basically and essentially say that by talking negative about the lotus, you are actually insulting India. That's the sense that I got after speaking to a lot of people in the establishment. What's your view?
Well, I mean, left to the BJP, the very fact that we are wearing black or blue, we could be insulting somebody or the other. So I don't want to take BJP's comments too seriously. But please remember what L.K. Advani famously said about Mr. Narendra Modi, the current Prime Minister. He talked about him being an exceptional event manager, which is maximizing, whatever marketing and branding mileage that they can think of. In my opinion, Sanket, there is one benchmark that tells you why Jairam Ramesh has hurt the BJP, and from the comments made by the BJP spokesperson on your program, who's sounding very condescending and dismissive of what Jairam said, it basically also exposes or is a manifestation of their own embarrassment. Here is a prime minister at a time when India probably lost maximum lives, was parading and propagating his face on COVID vaccination certificates. Did you hear of any leader in the country worldwide ever do it? I mean, there is a limit to what I call as blatant, shamelessness in a way. I mean, a country which was reeling under a second wave. And even today, there is speculation as to whether 500,000 people died or was it 40 million. A prime minister was doing his own PR and branding. So why are we surprised by the fact that the BJP is trying to, at the moment, I won't be surprised if they say that Mr. Modi has been elected to become the G20 leader and he's therefore a global Vishwa Guru. You see, we must understand the BJP for what it really is. It is a machine that believes that you got to brainwash the people by a sustained visibility campaign. Now, your channel may be one of the few that very often exposes them and resists their, what I call as the brazen manipulation of data and facts. I mean, I consider the BJP today to be a paragon of fake news, post-truth, alternative facts, and political manipulation. I'm saying so openly.
No, you are entitled to that opinion. But I want to understand, Mr. Jha, how does all of this manifest itself in a logo featuring a lotus? That's the only thing I want to know.
Simple answer. I think Anshul nailed it, and I will add to that again. In fact, even I tweeted about it very early in the morning, around the time Jairam did. I was astonished that a political party is today trying to say it is a national flower. But my question to the BJP and to the RSS gentleman on your program will be, what is the lotus the only symbol of our great national heritage, culture and pride? I mean, doesn't the BJP know that the world knows that lotus is also your political party symbol? And, this is a political culture, I would say. Tomorrow, if the Congress were to form a government and put up a hand as a G20, kind of a branding and say that, we are saying hum saath hai. I mean, it will be an absolute preposterous and ridiculing the intelligence, collective intelligence of the people of India. That's what the BJP is doing right now.
Okay. Deshratan Nigam, your views, and then I'll come back to Ms. Karuna Gopal. Deshratan Nigam.
Sanket, allow me some, uninterrupted time.
Absolutely, sir.
Now,
I will make sure you get your full time. Yes.
Yes. See, lotus symbol goes thousands and thousands of years back. It was a part of Greco-Roman civilization, Egyptian civilization, Mayan civilization, and certainly mentioned in Rig Veda to cost of money, including Upanishads and Puranas. And when I go through what Dr. Anshul Avijit said, he pointed out the universal use of lotus. Then why should you have any problem? He said it is used here, it is used there, apart from being a national flower. And it is a national flower, and it's symbolically, artistically, if you look at it, it's very different from BJP's symbol. On one side, you have 5 petals in the BJP symbol. Here you have 7 petals. And the color of the national flag, which incidentally is also the color of the Congress's flag also. So let's not get into that controversy. And now let me tell you on the lighter note, what is lotus effect? Lotus effect is set scientifically to be the dirt resistant quality of Lotus. It doesn't allow dirt and water to settle on it. And NASA, being a science student, NASA does Lotus coating, which is coating space equipment with surface resistance to stellar dust. BJP is nowhere there in the picture. So to relate everything to the BJP is preposterous. And let us look, and Lotus represents both logic and scientific temper. It is the only flower which gives seed at the same time when it is blooming as a flower. No other, flower does that. Therefore, both cause and effect. It's a symbol of both cause and effect and logic also. So it goes much beyond BJP. It was there since much before BJP. And since BJP's symbol, which has been politically granted by the Election Commission, was it opposed by the Congress at that point of time? No. It was national flower at that point of time also. Did Congress deliberately choose three colors, same as that of the national flag? That's also a question to be seen and raised. And therefore, let's not get into it. And Prime Minister clearly explained the concept that it's a symbol of purity, rebirth, strength, symbol of hope and life during this time of despair. And also one earth, one family, one future, such sustainable, development ideas. So to parochially parade this kind of argument is insulting Lotus, not BJP symbol, but our national flower. So let's go beyond. Let's go beyond all this rhetoric. And also, let me tell you, I am rather surprised a learned person like Jairam Ramesh is going, Digvijay Singh's way or some of the other leaders who, speak first and then think, which is why I'm rather surprised coming from Jairam Ramesh. And rightly pointed out by the BJP spokesperson, Rajiv too means Kamal.
Okay, yes, Sanjay Jha, before I come to you, Mr. Pularao is also, yes, Dr. Avijit, I'll come back to you. Mr. Pularao, what do you make of this controversy?
Well, I think it's an unnecessary controversy. You might remember when the Japanese Prime Minister Abe had invited Narendra Modi ji and they went to Japan, they found the lotus flowers all over there as an insignia. And there was a joke about it, Mr. Modi pointed out. Lotus flower is beyond BJP or beyond Mr. Modi or anything. It is symbolic of India also in many ways. Therefore, I think that they should be a little more generous in this and not attribute any great motives. And in rural India, in any temple, in any ceremony, lotus flowers are there. Therefore, I personally feel that to nitpick, to find something, and then to go ahead with it, to tarnish, somewhere you should stop.
Okay, Karuna Gopal, very quickly, your views. You heard what Dr. Anshul Avijit and Sanjay Jha had to say. Once Ms. Gopal has spoken, then I'll come to you, Sanjay Jha and Dr. Avijit. One by one, please. Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, I am completely appalled to listen to Mr. Jha, who found my words like childish, puerile, derogatory and condescending when he was so openly using words like shameless and brazen for a ruling Prime Minister. Okay, so I find that unacceptable anyway. But, the entire debate and discussion is clearly shows that Congress has nothing substantive to blame. Congress has not found anything gravely wrong with us. So they are looking at, as I mentioned, the sliver of hope is looking at small little things that might go wrong or might send a wrong message. So they are looking at logos, they are looking at symbols. How do you respond to
this allegation that this is extremely subtle messaging? Extremely subtle. Which the message will also go across, and those who have to compare will also compare. I mean, there was also this view that this controversy itself is going to make the logo more popular. At least it will become the talk of the town.
Well, that is their. That seems to be their paranoia and extreme fear. Otherwise, why would they, now tomorrow they'll start looking at, orange, saffron, pink, any petal and start looking at BJP spreading its message. So I think it's driven by paranoia and extraordinary fear, and they don't have anything substantial to blame. So obviously they look at these small little frivolous things
that this could
and
be
start
very
creating
subtle messaging. The kind where you can always turn around and say, what's wrong? What is wrong in this? You see, on two or three
I
occasions
doubt
something
if they
similar
have
has
the side.
happened. In the case of the Lions at the new Parliament building also, the argument was pretty similar. That you're making it look angrier to represent certain viewpoint in the country.
And yeah, it soon died down, right? So, Mr. Sanket, I'd like to say that Congress is not thinking too deeply that they will understand what we typically call as subliminal perception. So, when there is subliminal perception, then all these subtle things really come up to the fore. But they're not even thinking; they're just looking at something and they're reacting from fear and paranoia, as I said. So, I stick to my words.
Okay,
Well, Sanket,
reaction out of fear. That's what the BJP says. Sanjay Jha first, and then Dr. Abhijit.
Yeah, but Sanket, pretty obviously, I'm not surprised the BJP spokesperson could not answer my questioning the ethics and the morality of a Prime Minister marketing himself on the COVID vaccine certificate, which is an unprecedented embarrassment, I think, for any political leader all over the world. Let's call it out. The second point, does she know the staggering expenditure in advertising and promotion? No, 1 minute. Let me finish. Let her come after I finish.
Okay.
The staggering expenditure made by the BJP at a time when the country has been reeling under a severe economic catastrophe to promote the party. You open any newspaper of the country today, you'll find BJP leaders on the front page, the middle page, the center spread. It's an absolute loot of the public exchequer. So, let us understand the BJP for what it is. I have always believed this is a party which is a marketing gimmick. It's a PR, publicity and propaganda party. I call it the biggest unofficial public relations firm in the world. And what you're seeing are exhibition of that character. I mean, why are we so surprised? And end of day, let me tell you this, Sanket. Scientific temper that Mr. Deshrathan Nagam talked about, he should know that internet did not exist in the time of Mahabharata, no matter what many people from his party and the RSS think. And there was no plastic surgery happening during the time of Lord Ganesh.
Okay.
So please let us not here become very sanctimonious. The truth of life is that the BJP is promoting itself using public money. And I think this is a very legitimate and a serious debate. Because the people of India have a right to know
quick
how
response, and then Dr.
party
Abhijit.
to.
Yes. Karuna Gopal, the point on the Prime Minister and his image on the vaccine certificates.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is, I think the focus placed is, they purely look at that, but look at the magnitude of the work that was done during COVID. It certainly warrants having Prime Minister's face 10 times over. We have come out with an indigenous vaccine. We have helped not only our people, we have helped the entire world. And what does it mean? It doesn't mean that we are publicizing. We are talking about legendary performance. And why should you believe it is a marketing gimmick? Is it because you have colored lenses perhaps you are wearing? So I find it absolutely there's no substance in what is being said.
Nobody has forgotten April, May, June of 2021 when we talk about our grand success in carrying out a huge operation of vaccination, which to the credit of the systems that we have in place in this country, whether it was the polio vaccination, whether it is the COVID vaccination, that system delivers, right? But in that process, when we talk about the period of COVID, should we not also look at the months of April, May and June of 2021? Or is that something we should perhaps conveniently forget? I'm going to come back to you, Ms. Karuna Gopal, but quickly, Dr. Abhijit.
No, I mean, completely aghast that, the charge is that Congress has nothing to level charges on, and therefore it's looking at minute things to pick on. Yeah, it's nitpicking. Absolutely. I mean, I can't believe that there is unemployment at record levels. There is poverty, there is wasting, there is hunger. Inflation hasn't come down. There is hatred being spread everywhere. There was gross COVID mismanagement. You didn't order the vaccines that left to countless lives being lost. and you're saying we're nitpicking on things like this. Of course, there is a clear comparison between the Lotus and the symbol, the election symbol of the BJP. But the other point I want to make is that a secular symbol, the invocation of the Prime Minister in his speech, was that this was invoked as a religious symbol. You know, you remember when those snarling lions, those man-eaters were unveiled by the Prime Minister, he went, and did a puja on top of the Parliament House. You know, we are a multi-religious, pluralistic country. You cannot do that. Secondly, this Vasudev Kutumbakam, all very well in a highly nativistic world, which is, prone to parochialism.
Dr. just wanted to ask you, I mean, it's not like leaders of the Congress do not perform pujas.
No, this is a secular country. You cannot perform pujas in an official function. It is not done. Who does it? In a parliament function, you're performing a puja. Right? He did that. There is Sarv Dharm Pratna as well. He could have done that as well. Here there was a clear invocation of religion while he was unveiling the Lotus. So Mr. Deshnatha Mridanga may have, extolled the secular virtues of the Lotus. I deeply regret the fact that such a beautiful flower is being dragged through the mud and being maligned in this way. It pains me no end. But it has become deeply politicized.
Who exactly is doing that? I think that itself has become a debating point. Whether you are maligning the Lotus or the BJP is. That has itself become a debating point. Anyway, I've run out of time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. We come to the end of Breaking Views. News continues on the other side. Stay.